Shelter Insurance has covered a lot of miles and a lot of cars and drivers since 1946. We like knowing we have you covered, so you can just sit back and enjoy the ride. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Agent Mark Manning about Shelter's auto insurance discounts.
Miss Jan Jackson Maris, and as Bud Black always said, at the 1900 block of Malcolm Avenue, and we are here on a snowy day. I did some filming earlier this week, and people were talking about, well, it might snow later on in the week, but probably won't, but it probably did.
It probably did. Actually, I got a text from my niece this morning and said her younger son, Ryan, May Carol Allen, her younger son, Ryan, said that his Aunt Jan dream came true, that she said it definitely would not snow on Thursday, but when he got up on Friday morning, it most definitely would be snowing. So I'm walking in tall cotton today because his Aunt Jan dream came true.
That's right. Well, it definitely snowed, and we didn't get a lot of snow, but I mean, it covered the ground, and it's cold out there that it doesn't look like it's going to melt any. But
no, it doesn't.
How's Jan Jackson Maris? How's everything going?
Jan Jackson Maris is very grateful to be here and working in 2017, and hope I'm doing it in 2027 and 37 and 47
and keep on going.
Keep on going.
And of course, we experienced our, no doubt, we're in our family, we're going to use the Jackson's Funeral Home. And of course, I said I wasn't going to mention anything about Bud, but, what I want to talk about is how special you not made us feel, but how special how special you made us feel, but you guys make everybody feel special when you're doing a funeral service. It is excellent. It is excellent.
Thank you. Everybody is special.
Yes.
I mean, Bud, of course, was my friend and all of our friend, and
Sure.
in here, in and out, and you are, and your whole family has been for a couple of generations now, and we hope generations to come. But your family, once a family walks in here and we are working for them, they become our family.
Yes, they do.
And and it's not me, it's we.
It is we.
It takes every human being that works at Jackson's Funeral Home to make every family feel special. And I'm really grateful for the people that work at Jackson's Funeral Home that feel that way about the people that we serve.
Right.
Because it's not just me. It is everybody here.
Well, it is a great staff from top to bottom to, when you go through the process, and we've talked about this, hundreds of times, and if you have a pre-arrangement, it certainly makes sitting in here a lot easier when you're planning and a few decisions that you have to make, and then a lot of those decisions are made for you, and so that's why we always encourage pre-arrangement. But
and firsthand now how much easier it was that Bud made all the decisions
absolutely.
he made.
He made them all.
And it took a big weight off of your shoulders, and he did it for y'all.
And he did that.
No doubt.
He did that.
I'll never forget the day that he came in and he filmed, and he said, "Take me around in here." And he said, "I'll be back this afternoon and we'll finish this up." And I said, "Okay."
He sure did, didn't he?
He did.
He sure did.
He did.
And it's interesting, and it's kind of off the subject and about Bud, but Eddie Cooley tells the story, and it's a true story. They were at a football game one night, and Bud says, "Eddie, you have any cemetery plots out there for sale?" He said, "Well, sure, Bud." He said, "Well, I need two." And Eddie says, Bud took out his check and wrote him the check for it and said, "Well, just pick me out two."
Pick me out, too.
Pick me out two. And this was several years ago. He said, "Just get me a couple. I want to make sure I've got a place out there." He said, "I don't care where they are. Just pick me out two." And honestly, Jane didn't know where they were. Did not know. And that's okay, too. But
it is.
Yeah, that's okay, too. But we thank you for what you did for us and what you do. And folks, Linda and I talked just last night about how many different places that we've been in how many different states and how many different cities. You just don't get service like you get at Jackson's Funeral Home anywhere in the world.
Well, I will tell you, we had good teachers, and we care about the people that give us the privilege of working for them at the worst time in their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it is, and you know that firsthand. I know it firsthand. We've all lived it in our families, and I'm very grateful to the people who allow us to take care of them.
There's no doubt about that, and I don't think we could say it any better, but how well that you guys do, and again, you talk about your staff, which is absolutely wonderful, and how they do. Not only do they know how to do their job, they know how to do their job well, and you can feel their love for all of us at any funeral I've ever been to. I've seen it. You know, I mean, your whole staff. I mean, it didn't matter the people who stand at the door, people who stand outside, the people who direct the traffic. It's good. I appreciate you, girl.
I do, you too, David.
I
Thank
hope
you.
2017 is a great, great year for you and your family personally, and you certainly deserve it. I think good things will happen for your family again in
yours too.
17.
Again in 17.
Jan Jackson.
And we hope it for Jackson County.
Absolutely, absolutely. Jan Jackson Maris at the Jackson's Funeral Home, the 1900 block
of Malcolm
Avenue. Dr. Gavin McDowell at Custom Eyes Vision
brain
Care,
sucker.
and folks, this is what I deal with. Is this your clone? What is
It is.
this guy?
It's the model life replica of Gavin McDowell. That's
How
what
do
it
you
is.
get those? I think people will want those. I mean, really? Oh, you can't tell.
You
can
have to. There's a specialty supply company. It's called Hobby Lobby. You
Hobby
probably have
Lobby.
not heard of
Okay, I
something
gotcha.
as extravagant as that.
Right.
But yes,
Hobby Lobby.
they specialize in items such as this.
So, when you go in there, is it just by chance that you actually get one that's kind of similar to yourself? or-
Well, why do you think I shaved my head? I mean,
I
I had to. They couldn't put my long, luscious locks on there,
No,
so I
there,
had to. No.
The guy looks a little like you.
Whatever, we got that as.
He looks a little like you.
I find it's weird. I'm gazing into the eyes of a styrofoam head.
Yeah,
It's probably like having a conversation with me, but
that's pretty strange. You know? We're Customized Vision Care in the Newport Village Mall, and folks, if you want to do business with guys that are so professional that we never do anything like this, because this is our what we call our downtime. This is our fun time. This is our relaxed time. We just kind of have fun here, don't we?
no, we try to. We do something productive every now and then.
Absolutely, we do.
Yes,
And
yes.
Gotta brag.
Oh.
Gotta brag. I own Jackson County. Ben, can we see this? I own Jackson County. Joseph and Kimberly do a marvelous job with their magazine, and look who's on the front cover. It is the one, the only, my good friend, Dr. Gavin McDowell, who made the front page plus an article on the inside.
Yeah. And better yet, I wrote the article.
You did?
Now, it states I'm an ophthalmologist, which I'm not, obviously. I'm an
Oh.
optometrist, but that was a little Joseph add in. But hey.
Okay, that's all right, cool.
Yeah.
Tell me what's in this article for those who haven't read
Oh,
it.
that
Tell us a little bit about Dr. Gavin.
Well, have you
McDowell.
heard of the Diary of Anne Frank?
Yes.
Nothing like it.
Nothing.
Not anything like it. No, just a little brief, I don't know, quick snapshot glance of what we are and who I am and how really unimportant I probably am in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, but I hear it's going to get a Pulitzer. I can't wait. I'm going to refuse it, just like
I wouldn't
was
accept-
Bob Dylan. No, he's sending somebody his place for the Nobel, right? I don't
I
know.
don't have it.
I'm not up on current events. Who knows? Who's
I
president?
am. Well, I don't think they know. They're going to figure that out in a couple weeks.
Eventually.
next couple
Yeah,
weeks they'll
yeah.
figure that out.
We're boned no matter what. But anyway.
Congratulations, though. I mean, this is a tremendous. It's a good article, and it's out in Jackson County, and Kimberly and Joseph have been doing this magazine for
You hadn't read it.
years.
That's
no,
why.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. No, I told you I haven't read it. But I do
It's
know
really
this.
good because I haven't read it.
It's a good article because I've heard people talk about it, and people like you, and people like your staff, and people like what you do, and people enjoy coming here and doing business, and I assume that some of the things that you talked about in there, I assume you didn't talk about some of the things that you and I talk about before we get on the air in this magazine. I assume you didn't.
No,
Oh, good.
it was not fit for print.
No, that's good. That's good.
Especially that story about the skunk. Remember that? Anyway.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell me what's going on. I mean, everything good?
Everything's good.
Tell me
Got
about the new hairstyle.
I got a friend who got diagnosed with breast cancer.
Really?
Had double mastectomy and gone to chemo and lost all her hair. So Me and her husband and another friend in our church group, we shaved it. And I did this baby a year, or not a year, about a month ago, maybe a little longer than that.
Okay.
And I really like not having to take care of it. So this may be, I may hold this over for a while.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
At first I got this weird peanut thing going on, I don't know. But I'm getting used to it. But see, there's no peanut. We'll draw the diagram. Here in this area is the peanut area.
Right,
But then again, also my forehead starts way further back than it used to. So this helps kind of hide that. Not
What do you do
Not against
here?
as little as humanly possible.
People will talk about so you guys, and then y'all mention what y'all do.
Yeah.
Well,
We make, cakes. I don't know. I mean,
well, we do that. We make the cake if you need us a cake. But more importantly, we take care of one's eyes.
we do our absolute best. Yes, we do.
And you were instrumental, in all fairness, honestly, in getting me where I needed to go. I ran into some eye issues that everybody knew, and the doc and staff says, well, you've probably got a small problem right here. Let us get you to some
Small problem.
Small problem.
Yeah.
Where you can't see,
Yeah.
and the reason you can't see is because of this. So we're going to refer you to some surgical people that can take care of you.
Yeah, and you know what's great? What was great about the location where we are here in Newport?
Yeah.
Granted, we don't have some of the major specialties, if you want to call them that.
Right.
In town. We do not have an ophthalmologist in town,
Right.
and that can be viewed as a burden. But we are very blessed in the fact that we are a stone's throw, in no matter what direction you leave town, to some of the best surgeons in the area. So we're just in the right spot, as you can say.
Yeah, that's what you do. I mean, you do corrective lenses, and we talk about those and so on. And then there's just, that's your specialty, and some other people have other specialties that don't.
Absolutely.
They don't do that.
Let's
they do other
put it
things.
this way. My job is to correct vision,
Sure.
big thing. But also, I'm the gatekeeper, so to speak. I'm primary optometry and ocular health care, and so therefore, the things I can take care of, I take care of in house. But if it's above my pay grade,
Absolutely.
I get you out, because I'll tell patients all the time. What I know really well.
Sure.
It's the things that I maybe not so. Yeah, I'm going to find you somebody who knows more than I do.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do, and
Yeah.
I think that in all types of medicines, that's the way it's supposed to be. There's
Yep.
people that specialize, and in all fairness, if it's a family practitioner, if you're talking about
A PCP is a primary care physician.
absolutely,
Yes, sir.
I
Yep.
mean that guy doesn't do heart surgery.
Right.
He has to find somebody.
And trust me, he's trained to do it.
Absolutely.
You don't want him doing it though.
That's right.
So
right.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
right. So 2016, pretty good year for you guys.
it was good. Yeah, it was good.
Had a lot of
yeah.
fun and,
yeah. It was challenging in some ways. I'm not. Everybody has. As much as I hate to turn a blind eye to it, we're a business.
Sure.
Anyway, and I'm not all about it, but it's one of those things where you'll have your ups and downs, and we had our share of them. It's life.
It is life, and you do good things. And I guess in any business, like you say, there's a business plan. You look at the things that you did well. Well,
Do I look? I'm still the line from the Batman movie. Do I look like the guy with a plan?
That's right. That's right. But I know you do have a plan. The bottom line is you're here for patients. You're here to make a profit, and that's what we do. And tell me about.
I like electricity. I'll put it that way. I
Well,
want to keep it on.
Well, to keep it on, you have to charge for your
Yes.
services.
Yes,
I guess.
yeah.
And, tell me about where all Dr. Gavin McDowell is. You're not only in Newport, but let's talk about.
Yeah, we have a clinic in Pocahontas up in Randolph County, and we also have a clinic in Truman. It's over in Poinsett County.
Okay.
But yeah, just more so than anything, it's a branching out of our mentality. We provide the same, what I like to think, better.
Right.
The best care you can possibly get is when it comes to vision correction or ocular health management. But we try to provide that with a different spin. It's just, and I even say, it's even in the article, it's one of those things where if you're comfortable with that starch shirt starched personality, straight all business, and you don't want to know anything about some craziness going on in my life or the staff's life, you need to go somewhere else.
That's
'Cause
right.
that is
I
not
agree.
going to be what you're getting here.
I agree. I agree. You can always tell me about my eyes and how my eyes are doing, whether good or bad.
Yeah,
And there's
yeah.
always a little extra that I get here that when I'm a patient, and I go, wow, I didn't know that, Doc.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know that. Oh, it's all right.
Yeah, it's just your equipment.
$500.
No, don't worry about it.
$500.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and again, services that we do are just, I mean, they're simply the best, and you're just taking care of people's eyes.
That's exactly what I strive to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. I hope you have a great 2017.
I hope I do too.
I think you will.
I hope yours is better than how your 2016 went out.
Well, I do know this. Life is good. I enjoy it. I'll enjoy each and every day that the good Lord gives me, and that I'm pretty blessed to be here. And I'm always blessed to get to come in and visit with my good friend, Dr. Gavin Magdal. Good to see you, sir.
You too. Thank you, sir.
When you got into this great human cause, you had a noble dream, and you've worked long and hard to get where you are. Some things aren't always what they seem. You've seen a lot of pain, so many tears. It's hard to let that go. Sometimes you wonder why you carry on, but there is one thing we all know. These hands can bend a broken limb. These hands help hearts survive. But most of all, these hands keep dreams alive. Keep your chin up. I know at times it gets rough, but you have got the right stuff. So keep on believing. Keep believing. These hands can mend a broken limb. These hands help hearts survive. But most of all, these hands keep dreams alive. These hands, these hands. But most of all, these hands keep dreams alive. Keep dreams alive. These
John Chadwell, NEDC, downtown Newport, Arkansas. My pleasure as always, sir. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Well, great 2016 and big things happening in 2017. And, you know, we've been doing this show a long time. And before we got on the air right here, John and I were discussing a few things that are going on within the city, the county, the community, Northeast Arkansas, and, you know, around the state of Arkansas. And we started talking about the difference between being prepared and not being prepared from an economic standpoint. And John, we just sit here and talked about it. Let's talk about some of those things that make us more prepared than most other people that are out there.
Well, being prepared is having a product to market,
Right.
knowing what it is, and being able to answer the questions and in a rapid fashion. Because back 20 years ago when I started this, a little more than 20, they would call and say, oh, we've got a prospect and they need all this stuff in 3 weeks. Can you FedEx it to us?
Sure.
And so you'd have 3 weeks, you'd put it all together and you'd put it in this package and you'd FedEx it to them. And then it got to where, well, can you fax it to us? And then, well, can you email it to us? And the time just gets compressed and compressed and compressed. And a lot of what these companies are doing is they're trying to ask almost the impossible of a community.
Okay.
Because if you can accomplish that, they know you'll bend over backwards for
Sure.
them. And so they'll ask for you to do something in a 24-hour, 36-hour time frame. We want this information, we need it in 24 hours. Well, if you're not prepared, if you don't know where to find the information, or you don't have it on hand, or you don't know who to call, if you don't have all of that, then you're not going to be ready. And part of that is having somebody who's dedicated to economic development in the town.
Sure.
Because if you've got 500 other things to do and it comes to your email, you may say, well, I'll get that tomorrow. Well, the 24 hours is passed, you know. And so we're prepared from the standpoint of industrial property. We've got the 3,200 acre mega site, which is already paying off by bringing prospects looking to us that we've got under option. We've got the 100 acre certified site that we own outright.
Sure.
We got an 800 acre site under option. So we got all this property under option or that we own that we can market. And so we're prepared, and they know that the price is guaranteed on that property. They're
Right,
not gonna
absolutely.
come and have a surprise. We've done the phase 1 environmental on 3 different pieces of property, so they know there's no environmental problems. We've done the historical clearance on 3 different pieces of property. We're working on the wetlands on a couple. So we're getting all of this stuff done, so when they say, hey, we're interested in that piece of property, what's the wetland situation?
There it is.
We don't have to say, well, give us 30 days and we'll get an answer. We can say, oh, we've got that letter, and we pull it out and we send it to them, and they have it. We're prepared with that, so that we get the geotechnical studies, we get all of this stuff done. And people say, well, you're spending money and we don't even have a business yet. Well, that's right. But what we're doing is we're spending money, so when they ask the question, we have the answer. And the answer is not just good for one prospect. The answers are good for the next 20 prospects that come. You know, because that being prepared has paid off. It's paid off with prospects, it's paid off with development, but it's also paid off with even smaller businesses. And I'll give you an example. When Walmart was looking at putting the supercenter here,
Okay.
the manager at the time had been trying to convince them to put a supercenter here, supercenter here, supercenter here, and they kept saying, oh, our in-store sales are not growing fast enough for a supercenter. And he came and visited with me, and I just pulled out a number that had been given to me that our retail sales in the city limits had been growing by 8%.
Right.
But Walmart's retail sales had only been growing by 1%.
Okay.
All right, and so I said, why, Ron, are y'all not capturing the growth? There's 7% of the retail sales are going to somebody else in town, and y'all are missing them. And that kind of information was something he could take and use. It took him a couple of years, but as he showed them a progression of several years that there's this growth beyond what we're growing, we're not capturing the market.
Right.
Then they start saying, okay, maybe it makes more sense. Or you talk to a company about or a commercial business about the number of cars that pass by that. You know, here's how many cars pass by that place every single day. You know, your traffic count. And they say, oh man, I didn't realize that. Okay, well that makes sense, and that would be a good location for this. But it's having that information and having those resources and having that ability at hand. And then the other thing is just having a great team of people.
Sure.
From the mayor to the county judge to Miller Newell Engineering to the water department, the sewer department. I don't care who I call here in town and say, hey guys, I got a prospect and I need this information and I need it tonight at 5.
Yep, and there's a lot of that goes on. I need it in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Get it to me. And,
I need
and,
it.
and most economic towns, most people that have those departments would go, I probably can't do that. But we are prepared in doing those things that will make that work, that we can get that stuff out.
But and a lot of your towns who have a professional economic developer, they have an economic developer on staff, they've got somebody who can chase stuff like that down.
Sure.
But a lot of your towns who don't have somebody, they don't have somebody who can keep on top of chasing that down. But and in a lot of towns too, there's a lot of turf issues. So you call this person and say, I need this information. Well, what do you need it for?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? Well, in our town, we all work together. If the water company calls me and says, hey, I need some information about this, I give it to them. If they need to tell me what it is, that's fine. If they don't want to tell me what it is, that's fine too. It's not. because I know if they need the information, they're working on something good.
Good,
for our area.
absolutely.
And vice versa. And we all trust each other, and we all work as a team, and that has been noticed at the state level,
Right.
at how cohesive our leadership group is in our effort to work together. And so they're noticing that we've got the sites prepared, we've got the information prepared, we've got a local team prepared. We will respond in a professional manner, and then what that does is the next time they have a prospect, they're not worried about bringing them here. If it fits, they're not worried of, man, do we want to go to Newport or will they embarrass us?
Right.
Well, being prepared makes sure we don't embarrass them, you know, and that is one of the things we try to do. We don't ever want to embarrass the folks at the state. We don't ever want to embarrass a consultant that brings somebody in. We want them to all feel like, whether they choose us or not.
Sure.
You know, and they're not, I mean, these are long shot things, you know, you're not going to get chosen. When you get chosen by one, it's a great day. you know,
Absolutely.
and you may work 100 before you get chosen by that one. But if you're not prepared, you're not going to be chosen by anybody.
Any.
You know, nobody. And so we have gotten a lot of interest, a lot of activity, and as we were talking, a lot of our existing businesses in industries, because of the work that's been done, have added jobs over the years. And so the Center for Rural Entrepreneurship said that between 2012 2013, and I can only imagine it's more now, because if you think about it, 2013 we did not have Tractor Supply, we did not have Dollar Tree, we did not have Hibbett's, we did not have some of that new development. But 2002 to 2013, our retail taxable sales in the city limits of Newport grew by $65 million a year. $65 million a
In
year
10 years.
more money being spent in Newport city limits than had been
Sure.
across that 10 years. So that's a lot of economic activity going on, and that's from our existing industries adding jobs, our existing businesses adding jobs, and so some like Southwest Steel, who are new businesses
Sure.
that came in, and all of that is when they call, when they have information, when they need something, that we're prepared to try to work with them, deal with it, and make things happen.
Well, we are prepared. We are prepared for the groups of folks that we're working with today. We are prepared for anybody else that may be in that group of people that we are working, and we're doing big things. We're doing big things, and I'm certainly proud of NEDC.
Well, the team here at NEDC and the chamber, the team here is really good. It is a great staff that's working together, and everybody pitches in and makes things happen, and it is one of the best. Well, no, it's not one. It is the best situation I've been in from an economic development and community leadership perspective of anywhere I've been.
John Chadwell, always my pleasure, my friend.
Yeah.
Good to see you and have a happy new year.
You too.
John Chadwell, NEDC, and let me say this, if I don't say anything else, I can promise you we are prepared at NEDC.
White River Area Agency on Aging, and we have visited with Shanna McGuffey on several occasions here at White River. And Shanna, welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much, sir.
Tell us first of all, tell us your title and tell us what you do here for the company.
I'm the Chief Operating Officer.
Okay.
And so that means that I oversee some of the programs that we have. I have my finger in about all the programs.
Right, absolutely.
But the largest program that the agency has is the in-home services program. That is probably what we're most identified with the public. And so I'm the supervisor of that program as well.
Okay. And in-home services, I mean, when you think of White River Area Agency on Aging, I mean, that's what you think of. I mean, in-home services, but I mean, and you do a lot more things, a lot more programs, and we want to talk about some of those things that we do today.
Excellent.
So let me know, you mentioned veterans. Let's just start right there. Let's talk about our veterans and some of the programs that are available. And I know that you've got a wealth of knowledge on the subject, so let's hear it.
Well, it's scary to say you've got a wealth of knowledge on the subject of veteran services because it's a very deep well, as you know.
Absolutely it is.
However, when it comes to in-home services, there are 3 different programs that are available.
Okay.
There's a personal care program, a respite program, and also a aid and attendance program. The good news is our care managers know the ins and outs and the qualifications and the paperwork that has to be done and what has to be submitted in order to help access those services. So that's one of the main things I wanted to let you know today is I just believe veterans deserve our respect and
Sure.
deserve to be recognized, and they also deserve care when they need it.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
I just wanted to reach out to the veterans and veteran spouses. There are so many different programs. I can't even say, oh, if you do this and this,
Sure.
you qualify. That's impossible. But if you're a veteran or the spouse of a veteran, you should contact our office and see if there are services available to you.
Well, tell me about the procedure on how that happens, and then somebody contacts you, and you or the offices, and then somebody at the office says, yes, there are, and then how does the program get started, and how does the process work?
Well, the good news is all of the hard work and the red tape that has to go through it, that's what our care managers do.
Okay.
That's the main purpose of
Okay.
their employment, is to help folks access services. So what they would do is come out and do a brief assessment, and they'll have to ask a few nosy questions.
Sure.
And they find out exactly what's going on with that person, what their need level is, what their, not everything is based on finances, but some things
Sure.
are, so they'll ask those questions as well. And they'll help complete the paperwork. They'll assess what program they might be eligible for, and then just they know what to do next and who to get that application to and the extra information to, so that those wheels can turn and the process then is begun.
Okay.
If they're approved, then they get to choose a provider of services, and we always certainly hope they choose us.
Sure.
But they don't have to choose us, actually, in order to get help from our care manager. That's just what they're there to do, is just to make sure that elderly and disabled folks who want to stay in their homes are able to do that for as long as possible.
Well, I think that all, whether veterans or not, those people, I think everybody, as an adult, you say, I want to be here, I want to be in my home.
Sure.
And we're providing those services to help that process to where you can stay.
Right.
And let's just talk a little bit about some of the services that themselves. What are some of the services that allows that to happen?
Well, it can be a little bit of service from just someone there to supervise a safe bath and remind to take medications on time, or it can be a very detailed, helping someone to get up, helping them actually as much bathing assistance as they may need or may be comfortable with. Meal preparation, that's a huge thing, because it's interesting that some of the regulations say, are you able to eat? Well, what that means is if I have a plate in front of me and a fork, can I get the fork to the food and the food to my mouth? Well, but who can stand in front of the stove and cook it? Who can, there's so many things that go along with that. So meal preparation and making sure there's, nutritional health is maintained is a very important thing. And you know what, just the camaraderie, just the socialization of having someone to visit with, or someone to say, I don't feel right today, or if you see that, if someone has congestive heart failure and you come in and you're like, oh, they've gained 10 pounds of fluid overnight.
Sure.
Well, if you don't see someone every single day, you don't see that.
Right.
So there are so many things that's just everyday living. And that's what we want to make better for folks.
People taking care of people is basically what it is. And like you say, lots of programs out there that do that, but we specialize in that. We've been doing it for a long, long time. We do it in a lot of counties, do it in several different counties, and it's special what you folks do, because you're widely known throughout the counties that you're in that that your services are good, and even going back to the veterans. If you need the services, if somebody needs these services, how do we contact? You talk about a case manager. How do we literally, I know we can walk in the door, tell us about where we would go, or how we would go, how we'd call, who we call. A lot of people may not be able to email. How do we get in touch with somebody that can help us?
Well, White River has 10 counties in this region, and each of those counties have a county office. So if they can contact that county office, they will immediately get connected to the care manager in that county. They can also call the central office here at 870-612-3000. And we'll hook them up. We'll make sure that the care manager comes out, does an evaluation. They sometimes do a little pre-evaluation on the phone, so they know the right path. They know that that they're coming out there with the right tools in their tool belt. But they can do a home visit, and they'll be able to help the person determine. Sometimes they need things they don't even know they need.
Absolutely.
And
or need things that they don't want to ask for.
Right.
You know, that can be a situation where people will just, you know, we want folks to know that we're here to help.
Absolutely.
And if you do need some, don't hesitate to ask.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is there are so many things that are available, and you know, we're a proud people in the South, and a lot of times people say, well, I just, you know, I hated to ask, or I sure didn't think. My goodness, that the goal is to help and to keep you safe and, you know, with as much dignity in your own home as possible, and that fear of, you know, will I ever have to be put into a facility, or what's the status? Well, just let us help you for as long as we can.
Yeah,
that's our goal.
Let us let you stay there.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt. You have an interesting job.
I have the best job in the world.
Absolutely. I know you do. You love what you do.
I do.
And that's fantastic. Anything else that we need to cover? Have we covered everything that we needed to?
If you've got a question, call us, and we're here to help. We want to help.
Shanna McGuffey, White River Area Agency on Aging. Lots of information. The best job in the world. And I'm going to tell you what, if you can say you got the best job in the world, you certainly love what you're doing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's continue on with more of the Business Spotlight. Tommy Bain at 1501 Malcolm Avenue in Newport is the place to get tires, oil changes, lots of different services for your automobile. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, we got to talk on a nice, beautiful, wintry day with a lot of snow on the outside. Hello, Brother Bain. Happy New Year.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Doing great.
Tell us about Farmers Tire Mart and off to a great start for the 2017 year.
Well, getting kicked off, and here we go.
Here we go.
And we're looking forward to business in 2017. I want to welcome everybody that out there that just come on in to 2017 with us, and we'll get going down the road.
Tommy, you've had a very, very successful business for many years here, and it all comes down to service. It all comes down to trusting people. Lots of folks trust you guys for, you know, with their automobile needs and their automobile tire needs and their automobile repair needs.
Yes, we back when. Well, I've always had the assumption that I want to treat people like I want to be treated.
Sure.
And that's always worked for me. And I think if everybody would pursue that line of thought, things would be a whole lot better in this world.
I guarantee you. Wintertime is a lot like summertime, and there's a lot of things that you can do to save yourself some money, especially when it comes to tire and tire pressure and antifreeze and things like that. Talk a little bit about some of the things that you can do to prevent some bad things from happening.
Well, as there's a thing that's called preventative maintenance,
right,
associated with automobiles, and throughout the year, especially at the end of summer, at the onset of winter through the fall, is an excellent time to get those things checked out on the automobile before winter sets in, and that way you won't be rushed to get it done after it turns cold.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And
that normally happens with everybody rushes in once it happens. They go, check my antifreeze for me, please. And I'm one of them.
And we do. We every time one comes in for service, we check the antifreeze and make sure it's in a safe range that it'll not freeze up. But oil change, if it hadn't had it done for the winter, it needs to be done. These old engines, hot and cold, there's condensation builds up in the internal parts of that engine, in the oil pan, and can cause some damage if it's not taken care of.
You know, some of the recommendations that some of these newer automobiles will have are, you know, a little bit longer than what most of us recommend, because when they talk about optimum conditions, I mean, I don't know that I drive in optimum conditions. I think my conditions are a little less than optimum, so therefore I change my oil a little bit more than what the regular maintenance report tells you that you need to do. But I mean, a pretty good indication, 2,500, 3,000 miles, is that, wouldn't you think?
That's always been, and I've seen a lot of internal parts of the engine after when an engine has been abused
Sure.
and torn down. And when it goes too long without changing of the oil, and I've seen them torn down that have been changed every 2,500 to 3,000 miles. And I've always preferred the look of that 3,000 mile.
You can tell once you get in there, can't you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But rule of thumb is that, of course, these engines, car manufacturers today, all this computerized stuff, and most of those cars are set. The computer's set to flick the light on at
Yes, sir.
5,000 miles
Right.
to service the engine.
Right.
My rule of thumb has always been 3,000 miles.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be afraid after 200,000 miles. I wouldn't be afraid to tear one of my engines down.
Right. Right.
And and I'm sure it'll look good inside.
Well, if you look at the difference in 3,000 and 5,000 miles over the life of the car and then what an oil change costs, and you figure out how much you did spend, you're not investing a lot of money to protect a pretty big investment for you. So I don't think it's a big deal to go, get it done at 3,000 miles. And folks, if you want your oil change, give us a call and get right here. We do a minor repair back in the shop. You guys stay busy all the time.
We do. Of course, these snowy days like this are the exception to that fact.
Sure.
People don't like to get out on these icy roads and snowy days like this. It's cold.
It's
outside.
cold out there. But you know what? If they had a brand new set of tires from Farmer's Tire Mart, there might be a lot more of them getting out there. A lot of them might be thinking, well, more tires aren't good enough to get out there. Come on and get a new set of tires from
That's
us.
right. That's right. That tread depth is important.
Yes, sir.
When you get out on these roads, and we have to get out there occasionally. So I know I do. I drive 20 miles on this.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
to get here,
How far does it take you to get back? Does it still take about 20 miles too?
It's
Same distance?
Depending on which way I go.
20 here and 22 back. Yes, sir.
22
Take the
back.
long way back. Take the long way. But I know you're looking forward to a happy New Year for everybody. And again, thanking all of our folks, our clients that do business with us.
That's absolutely. And we appreciate everybody that does business with us. And I see folks going up down the road smiling.
Yes, sir.
Some of them jumping up and down their seat.
Yes, sir.
But, they got those boom boxes on.
That's right. That's right.
But, we do appreciate everybody that comes in and trades with us, and anything we can do for you, we'd be glad to give her a whirl.
Tommy Bain at Farmer's Tire Mart. We're located in Malcolm Avenue. We've been here many years. And Farmer's Tire Mart is where
the rubber meets the road.
it does that. My friend, Mr. Tommy Bain at Farmer's Tire Mart.
Have a good year.
It's 2017, visiting with Tara Salinas at Merchants and Planters Bank. And first of all, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too.
Good to see you again.
2017.
Yeah. Woo! Lots of things going on. Lots of new things that we need to talk about Merchants and Planters Bank, and some exciting things that are coming, and expansions and so on. But let's talk a little bit about what we have to look forward to in 17.
At the beginning of every new year, and we've had a little bit, this is to get into it, but you start making your plans.
Sure.
And, your resolutions, your goals, so forth and so on. Here at Merchants and Planters, that's a big deal for us. We've been thinking about it for long before now. But as our neighborhood and our community and our customers out there, we think it's important to keep you guys informed of what's going on here. So just talk about a few things. We're always excited about growing, as long as it's a strategic growth.
Sure.
in communities that we feel that we can benefit and that we can benefit from. And so in current markets where there's a need for expansion, we have planned to do so.
Okay.
I'm excited about, we have locations, we have all over, but
Sure.
we have several locations in Batesville and Southside, and there's a need to grow there. So we're building a new location in our Batesville market this year. For any of our customers that travel that way often, you'll notice it on Harrison Street. It's across from the Home Depot over there, but it's a very big, large
Absolutely.
branch.
It's going to be a nice
It's
nice
going to
place.
be gorgeous, and we're really excited about that. And like I said, we have offices all over. We have Des Arc, McCroy, Tuckerman. We have a location in Swifton, Batesville, Southside, Newark. We have a mortgage office in Searcy. So just don't forget that if you're out there traveling, I know most people call Newport or Jackson County home, but we have offices out there to serve you and help you on your travels as well. And like I said, we're really excited about the expansion in our Batesville market. And growth is a great thing, again, as long as it's smart growth.
Sure,
And we think that it is. We have some other new markets that we're going to look into, and I might have some really exciting news to share with everyone later about those. But just wanted to make sure everyone knows, like I said, things are going well, and we're excited about growth, but we're also very steadfast in our foundation of being your hometown community bank.
Sure.
That's why we stick with our mantra of, we want you to come grow with a bank that'll never outgrow you.
There you go. What I was going to say, Terry, and it's so important that you're able to grow because of the confidence that we, the people who do business with you guys, because we are doing what we need to do because you're our hometown bank, and we want you to be able to grow. We want us to be able to grow. So we think that's a good thing. Those of us who do business with Merchants Planners Bank think it's a good thing that we can expand our services into different market areas and such. So it's a good thing.
We do too. And like I said, we just want people to know that, with our growth, it's calculated, and it's in an area that we know. We don't want to just grow for the sake of growing.
Sure.
Or just to say, hey, we're building more and we're making it bigger.
Absolutely.
There's a purpose and a plan to everything, and so we're excited about the plans that we have, and we want our community to be excited as well.
We have new products and services that we want to hit on and talk a little bit about.
We're constantly staying up to date with the ever-changing technology.
Yes.
And we're making sure that we provide you guys with the means that you need to do your financial business, whether it's using our mobile app to do your banking, to check your balance, the text alerts that we send out saying, hey, check your account.
Gotta do something here.
You need to do something here, or our website that provides information about not only our financial services but our insurance agency, our lending staff, things like that. We, have some updates planned. We will be launching an updated version of our website very soon.
Okay.
It'll just, be more aesthetically pleasing and easier to see on all of your devices, whether it's your smartphone or your tablet or whatever you choose to use as you log into your banking account. And, basically, like I said, we're updating our apps and just making sure that we are on top of the technology that our customers need to stay connected with us.
Terry, it wasn't too long ago. In all fairness, when we needed to know the balance, we dialed the number and asked, could we speak to somebody in bookkeeping? Could you tell me what the balance?
We're here for you for
I
that.
know, absolutely.
That's fine.
But when we first started this several years ago, talk about the technology, and with the touch of a button to get on a device and check and see, there we are, and did a check clear,
Isn't that cool?
Used to, if there was some question on whether or not a bill was paid or not, it was, did your check clear? And you don't say, let me call the bank. You get on your iPad and you go and check, see if the check cleared.
I think it's awesome.
It is awesome,
It's right there, and it's so easy and convenient. But again, we know that not everybody is of that mindset.
Right.
So we do have, we have people in place that are sitting there ready to tell you, yes, it did, no, it didn't. We have an automated telephone banking system that you can
Right.
dial into if you want to avoid the human person and punch your numbers in and find out there. And then we also have a lot of people that think, oh, hey, that's a neat idea, but I don't know what I'm doing. We've got computers set up in all of our offices, and people here that will help you, that can show you how to, put our app on your phone, show you how to log into your bank account online, and kind of step by step it for you, so it's not so overwhelming, so you know what
Sure.
you're doing.
Absolutely.
So anyway,
Absolutely.
like I said, that's just kind of our commitment to our customers to make sure we're on top of the things that they want. And I encourage everyone to give us your feedback, to tell the people in your hometown branch, or reach out to us via social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Tell us what you're interested in. If there's something that you would like to see us offer, we would love to hear about it, and get our customers' feedback and views
Well,
on things.
you mentioned the Facebook and Twitter and any of the social media accounts, and there's just so many. The world has become a smaller place because we've been able to expand. It's
Weird.
smaller because we
Yeah.
could expand out,
Okay,
and
I'm with you.
yeah, and just literally, the world is at our fingertips with social media. No
Yeah,
doubt about
it's
that.
so easy to reach out. And we like to use our social media socially to kind of let people know, here are your bankers, and here's what they like to do in their spare time, and here's how they give back to their community. And we like to showcase our people because we feel like that's our biggest asset.
Absolutely it is.
But it's a great way to reach out to the community too, and have them respond to us and get their feedback.
Investments, insurance, beautiful location, downtown Newport now. And we want to mention a little bit about them.
Yeah, like I said, we just want to remind everyone, we're a bank, and we're also an insurance agency. We, would like to think of ourselves as a one-stop shop for all things financial. And so, as you're making your plans for the new year, and you're making your goals and setting your aspirations, and a lot of that is going to include things that we can help you with. So don't forget that, we're here for you for all of your financial issues or needs.
Big things happening in 2017
Yeah.
at our hometown bank, at my hometown bank, Merchants and Planners Bank. And I turned 60 years old this year, and I can remember when I started a long time ago, and I've been with Merchants and Planners for a long time. And I started banking when I was a kid.
We turned 75 last
That's
year,
right.
so
That's
yeah,
right.
you've been with us
That's right.
along the journey.
Absolutely. Been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you for
Thank you, Tara.
for business, and thanks everyone for their business, and we're looking forward to a great new year, and we can't wait to see what all happens.
Tara Salinas, Merchants and Planners Bank. We're on the Business Spotlight, and let's continue on with more of our show. Mr. Darren Caldwell from Unity Health Harris Medical Center. I guess you are the head man, as we say, vice president. What's the title, my friend? Tell me the title.
I am Vice President Administrator of Unity Health Harris Medical Center.
And you have a job that is vitally important to this organization. First of all, let me say thank you for the year and a half that you've been here. You're everywhere within the community. You're everywhere outside the community. You are a busy fella. How's the first year and a half been for you?
Well, let me tell you, I am in a lot of places. I don't deny that this job keeps me busy, but Newport's such a great town. Why wouldn't you want to be everywhere around here?
Sure.
I can't imagine living anywhere else right now. Community's been extremely receptive, been very welcoming. My family has been overwhelmed with the kindness that we've received. So fitting in was just a matter of
Easy.
shutting one door and opening another one.
Absolutely.
So that has obviously relocating has kept me busy, and Unity has kept me busy. We're excited about the accomplishments that we've had here in the last year and a half. We continue to see some growth. We're excited about some strategic plans that we have in place. Gosh, I could go on and on. Right now, I'm afraid we may hear some dinging and clanging. We've got a remodel going on to the building. We'll be adding our MRI unit that'll be permanently placed here. We're hoping it'll be here about the second week of March. That's something we've been able to offer on a mobile unit, but we felt like, hey, we need that thing to be a permanent addition.
It's a big
to the
addition.
facility.
Big addition.
Sure. We just recently finished our remodel of our new life center, our OB area. So we'll have some new furnishings coming in with that. So you ladies that held off long enough to have a new place, here you go.
Here we are.
And then we've got some other things in store. So it's pretty exciting around here.
I want to ask you this, and you talk about the excitement, and I get a lot of questions in the public from time to time, and I mean, when you mention the Mayo Clinic, I mean, you're mentioning something that whether you're in the medical field or not, everybody's heard of Mayo Clinic and the association. Such a huge thing for us to be able to associate ourselves with the Mayo Clinic. Tell us exactly what that is and how that works.
Yeah, we are excited about that. And the way it works is, no, Mayo did not buy Unity. I did say we bought Mayo for a little while, and that got a little confusing, so we probably decided we wouldn't do that. But we have an association with them through the Mayo Clinic Care Network.
Okay.
And to kind of simplify it, if you have a problem and one of our local physicians feels like you need some other attention, we will bring all your chart and all your information together.
Okay.
We will send that information up to Mayo at one of its 3 locations, whether it's in Rochester, Minnesota, or out at Phoenix, Arizona. And then the office that we primarily utilize is in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
And whatever physician, whatever specialty that the patient needs to receive the additional care, we send it to them, and within 3 days we get an answer back by what that physician feels. Now, the system as a whole, we've done about 60 to 70 of those so far since last May. And what we have found is on almost every occasion that the doctor at Mayo has said, y'all are doing exactly the right thing.
Good.
Now, what they have occasionally done said, here's some new stuff you might want to try. We have begun to do some of this. You may want to try that. But for the most part, it's been great. Not only do we have access to their physicians, but we got access to their database. So they have their own library of information.
Sure.
And we have that at the fingertips. So whether you use one of our nurse practitioners or physicians, they may slip into the other room, click on the computer, have a file pop up, and give us one of the most up-to-date answers that you can get from physicians that utilize this particular information out of the Mayo system. So you may not ever leave the office and get a Mayo interpretation.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I know this. The association, once that was designated to us, or so on and so forth. When you're dealing with Mayo Clinic, you're dealing with some of the best in the world, and that allows us to be able to connect with our patients, the best of the world care. And obviously, like you said, they usually tell us, you guys are doing a pretty good job right there. You're on course with what you're doing. So that's a pretty good pat on our back that says we are pretty darn good and doing quite well.
And obviously the key is, would you rather drive to McLean Street, or would you rather take a trip to Rochester?
Absolutely.
And that's what we're trying to get across to people. So.
Absolutely. I got to ask you about this Continuity Care Clinic. Tell us, I mean, a big addition when we had that. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about
Well, we started that about a year ago last October with our first class, and we had 4. Starting last July, we added 4 more physicians because a new class came on. We're in year 2 of our residency program out of Unity. So what we did, we have 4 first-year residents.
Okay.
And those 4 we had last year have stayed on. They've just split the days. 2 come on Tuesday, 2 come on Thursday.
Good.
On Tuesday, Dr. Dudley, I pulled him out of mothballs, asked him to come out of retirement. So he oversees that particular day. And Dr. White, who was here last year, he continues to come on Thursday. So the very word itself, continuity clinic, means that you go there and that the physician, while he's in his training process of residency, you can go back to that particular man or woman, and for 3 years you're followed. And obviously what we want to have happen is one of them decide to like it here as much as I do and stay.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah, we're recruiting doctors for the future and hope those guys do stay, guys and girls. And then, but just another great program that Unity Health and Harris Medical Center has as we've delved into that, and we continue to do other things. Now I got to ask you about this. I got to brag a little bit because I was just checking on the internet, and I ran across Arkansas Hospital Association Board of Directors. Chairman is my good friend. Tell me about that, how you get the distinction, and it sounds to me like that's a pretty important distinction to be the board of directors of the Arkansas Hospital Association. Tell us about the association first.
First of all, I am proud to represent Harris in the organization. Arkansas Hospital Association has been around since the 20s.
Okay.
Basically it was created, the hospitals in the state got together and said, there's things that we just can't do on a day-to-day basis. So when there's issues at Washington or Little Rock with the Capitol, when there are special new concerns or educational opportunities to come up, we recognize that having one hub and all the hospitals have access to this hub of information, we come together, we talk things out about politics. When new regulatory agencies come up with something, hey, we all need to get together and figure out how this works, and that's what the Hospital Association does for us. Being chairman, I've been on the board. I've served on the board for probably 7 to 8 years.
Wow.
Ran for chairman-elect.
Okay.
Won that. It was a 2-year, and it almost always leads into chairman. Well, what happened was the person who had the chairmanship changed jobs,
Right.
Removed himself from the position he had, and the bylaw said if the chairman's job comes up empty, chairman-elect takes his and fulfills his term plus
the term.
the upcoming term.
Sure.
So for about 3.5 years, I'm going to figure out how to run that organization right into the ground, I guess. I don't know.
I know you'll be great. Not at running into the ground, but you'll do great at that, I know.
It's a fine organization. They do great work. Almost every hospital in the state is a member, and so I do have a lot of opportunities to interact with the other guys and women around the state, we always feel like it's an advantage to be in the know, and
Sure.
that's what it is, put you in the know.
Unity Health, Harris Medical Center, when we change, and human nature tells us that we don't like change when change is unknown. Well, that can't be good. I mean, but the change for us in Newport, Arkansas, Jackson County, Northeast Arkansas has been phenomenal. And the things I swear that I hear about you and what you're doing from a leadership standpoint, it's just a phenomenal organization led by a good group, and you're at the top of that group for the Harris Medical Center, and we do quite well, my friend, and congratulations to you, because I think I'm always one of those that says it takes a good leader for all of us to follow in there and do well, but we're doing okay, you know it?
Well, we joked before we started this thing that I was going to be able to make the battery run out on the camera, and I definitely could talk on and on about the quality work that Unity does. Matter of fact, Sunday, we're going to have our 50th anniversary celebration.
Right.
So we feel like that proves that Unity's been around for a while too. But the key is, I'm really not all that great, but I work with a great group of people.
Yes, sir.
And the fact that collectively we care, and we can somewhere or another make things happen. We're blessed. God is good, and we look to Him for a lot of answers, and thank goodness He gives us good answers.
Absolutely.
So we're excited to be here, and we know Jackson County, Newport area, we're going to be excited to be part of a springboard that's going to take place here.
There you go. There you go. My friend, it's always my pleasure to get to see you. And I hadn't seen you very often the last several months. And
well, I run from you as much as I can.
I bet you do. I bet you do. But I appreciate you taking time on a Friday afternoon, late in the afternoon, and it's still work time, isn't it?
Well, it's snow on the ground. I want people to know I don't usually walk around in a turtleneck. But I felt like I better do a disclaimer.
Yes, sir. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, too. Thank you for dropping by anytime.
Darren Caldwell at Unity Health Harris Medical Center here in Newport. And let's continue on more of the Business Spotlight.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to 2017. I'm Randy Klepeczka with Farmer Supply Association with your Jackson County Agriculture Report for the month of January. Well, January is pretty much a planting month for our farmers. You know, some of our farmers have got heated shops and they can do some stuff in the shop, but a lot of it's just the planting phase this year, trying to get ready for the 2017 crop. So we're going to talk about one of those phases of planting on this month's program. Want to focus on soybean weed control this month, and boy, I tell you what, soybean weed control has changed so much over the past 10 years. You know, 10 years ago, before we had Roundup Ready, you know, or maybe a little more than that, before we had Roundup resistance with our pigweeds, you know, weed control was so easy. Our farmers would plant Roundup Ready soybeans and, you know, spray Roundup and kill pretty much everything out there. May have to add a few things for certain weeds, but really it was pretty easy back then. But when the resistance to the pigweeds was discovered over in Mississippi County, again, probably about 10 years ago, I can't remember the exact year. Really, since that point, weed control in soybeans has become much more complicated. It's not easy anymore, and you really have to think about a lot of factors when you're planning for your weed control program for soybeans for the upcoming year. There's really only about 3 different modes of action that doesn't have resistance yet, herbicide families that don't have pigweed resistance yet. That's the Group 5 herbicide, which is mainly metribuzin, which is a pre-emerge material farmers can use with soybeans. Also the Group 15, which is dual and Zidua and Outlook, again another pre-emerge material for soybeans. There's been no resistance documented to those herbicides yet. And also Liberty with our Liberty Link soybeans, which has been around for a few years, came about after Roundup. You know, after Roundup Ready was pretty much a goner for us. We've switched to Liberty Link soybeans on these fields that have a lot of pigweed in them, and still no documented resistance to that yet. That's probably coming real soon if it's not already out there. Adding a new mode of action this year, which hopefully will help us out, and that's the Auxin family, which includes a herbicide called dicamba, which should be available this year, and another herbicide 2,4-D that most people are familiar with. It hopefully will be available in the near future real soon to help us with this pigweed problem. There's really 4 different families of herbicide technologies, or 4 herbicide technologies available to our farmers out there, and I just want to briefly touch on the positives and the negatives, the pluses and the minuses of these modes of action. Of course, the old, what we used to always deal with was conventional soybeans before Roundup Ready came along, before about the mid-90s. Conventional soybeans was pretty much all we had. They're less expensive. The seed's a lot less expensive because you don't have those herbicide traits that you're paying for. But obviously there are fewer herbicide choices out there. Of the families I mentioned a while ago, really all you've got, if you've got conventional soybeans, is you've got the metribuzin and you've got the dual and the Zidua, some pre-emerge materials. There's still some fields that probably don't have resistance to the PPO herbicides, which include Flexstar and also Blazer and Cobra. If you don't have resistance to those, then that still gives you another shot right there to kill pigweeds. But if you do have PPO resistance, and it's becoming more widespread every year after being documented 2 or 3 years ago, then really you're down to the metribuzin and the dual and Zidua with the pre. So it's really very difficult to control pigweeds with conventional soybeans. Of course, with the Roundup Ready soybeans, as far as the weed control aspect, you're really just like planting conventional beans because Roundup doesn't work on pigweeds anymore, so you're really without that one. So you're left up again to the metribuzin, the dual, and the Zidua with the pre's, unless you have still susceptibility to the PPO herbicides, which you definitely cannot count on. You may have it, but you can't count on that with the resistance building up every year. One positive point with the Roundup Ready beans, there's really some excellent varieties. Some of your top yielding varieties, the varieties that usually win these statewide yield contests, are the Roundup Ready beans. But again, if you can't control your pigweeds, then you really can't afford to plant those, because if you grow up in weeds, you're not going to make good yields. So those are really reserved for those fields that don't have pigweeds in them at all, or are just a very, very low density of pigweeds, but preferably none at all. The other technology that we talked about earlier was Liberty Link. It's still our best pigweed material out there right now. It was not as good as Roundup was when Roundup was in its heyday, but it's still the best thing we've got going probably right now. Been no resistance documented to the Liberty Link soybeans. So again, I'm kind of concerned that's going to happen pretty quick, but as of yet, it's still not there. So we really need to rotate The Liberty Link beans was something else. That way we can get a different mode of action out there and not just rely on Liberty, because again, the more you rely on one herbicide over time, it's going to develop resistance real quickly. So that leads into that new technology that's available beginning this year, and that's the dicamba soybeans. It is a new mode of action for soybeans. It's not a new mode of action for herbicides. We've had this mode of action for a long, long time with 2,4-D, and others. So, but it is for soybeans because we haven't been able to use it in soybeans before. So obviously there's no resistance to it yet in the soybean fields. So it is a good material to rotate to. It's going to be very, very timely, very important that you're very timely with your applications. You really need to get small pigweeds. Of course, that's the same way with any herbicide, but I think it's even going to be more critical with the dicamba. So it's going to be very, very important that we get these pigweeds sprayed when they're very, very small. The big problem that we've seen with the dicamba is the sensitivity of non-dicamba soybeans. Non-dicamba soybeans are extremely sensitive to dicamba, so we're going to have to be very careful where these soybeans are placed and how they're sprayed, because if we spray them and we get dicamba on neighboring soybeans, whether it's ours or our neighbors or whatever, it just takes a very small amount to severely damage non-dicamba soybeans. So that's the big drawback to the dicamba soybeans. We really need to learn a lot more about this technology. It's going to kind of be thrown at us this year, it looks like, and we're going to have to be very, very careful. There needs to be a lot of education. Farmers need to be very careful. Applicators need to be very careful when applying these and do everything they can to avoid getting the dicamba on non-dicamba soybeans. So again, 4 different herbicide technologies, and again, we're talking mainly about pigweeds. There's still a lot of ways we can control other weeds, but pigweeds are the big one. They're the ones that are very, very competitive, and they're the ones that in some fields are very, very thick. So it's very important that we really think this out. Think about all these factors I've talked about, all the pluses and minuses of these technologies, and make best decision for your situation, and also avoid getting the dicamba on soybeans that aren't dicamba soybeans. So, hopefully all this will work out this year. We'll have a good soybean crop with good weed control without damaging other soybeans. So if you have any questions on this, you can contact me. Again, I work with Farmers Supply Association out of the Tuckerman office, and you can contact me on my cell phone, 870-318-0739, or by email at randyklepechka@gmail.com. Until next month, this has been Randy Klepechka with your Farmers Supply Association Agriculture Report for the month of January.
My Uncle Bud spent his last Christmas Eve, as he always did, with his family. And Bud said something that really got to me. He made the statement that he wasn't sure why God had let him live as long as he had, but he sure was glad that he did. That statement really made me think, and it made me think in particular to a scene in one of my all-time favorite movies, It's a Wonderful Life. George Bailey makes the statement that he wishes that he'd never been born, and as many of you who've seen the movie know, that George got his wish and soon realized that all the people he loved so dearly were not the same without George Bailey in their life. All I could think is, what would the world be like if Bud Black had never been born? And the answer is, who knows? But I do know that I sure am glad he was. Bud was the kind of guy you'd meet on the street and you could talk to him for 10 minutes and he would make you feel like you'd known him for years. He was just that way. Bud was also the kind of guy that if you knew him at all, he would not hesitate to tell you exactly what was on his mind and how he felt about anything. A very outspoken and passionate man, to say the least. And if you've never been on the other side of an argument with him, you haven't spent much time with him. He saw it his way and wasn't going to see it any other way, no matter what kind of convincing you could do. Bud could be ornery and stubborn as a mule, there's no doubt, but that's what made Bud Bud. But on the other hand, Bud was the kind of guy that would literally give anybody in need everything he had if he thought it could help them. Bud was a determined person who knew what he wanted from a very young age. Bud loved sports, and he always wanted to be a sportscaster. My dad has told me stories from when he was a kid about him and a few neighborhood kids playing ball in their front yard, and Bud would always broadcast the games and pretend he was Harry Carey, who was the announcer for the St. Louis Cardinals. I can remember my grandmother Lois telling me that when Bud was 13, my grandpa, E.M. Buddy Black, had heard enough Harry Carey from little Bud, and he was going to break him from this whole broadcast thing. So he took Bud to an American Legion baseball game and talked to Mr. Gene Howe, who was the station manager and the local broadcaster, and told him that little Bud is bugging us to death to get on the air with you. Will you just put him on the spot so we can end this? So Mr. Howe did, and he later told my grandpa that he gave little Bud the microphone and he never got it back. So his determination has paid off. Bud finally got the big break that he needed. Bud continued to pursue his dream of sportscasting for different radio stations, KNBY in Newport being where he spent most of his career, until one day the opportunity came for him to broadcast his hometown team, his love, the Newport Greyhounds, on television. Not knowing what was in store for his career, and after putting his and Jane's livelihood on the line by leaving a good job, Bud went out and sold this idea to a few local businesses that he thought he could help, and everyone loved the idea. It was a hit. The voice of the Greyhounds made another transition after starting in the front yard of a home in Normandy Acres and making his way to a booth of American Legion radio broadcast at just 13 years of age. Bud took his next blind step from the all-familiar local radio station, which he loved, and came into the living rooms of residents of Newport on their television set. After the first year of Greyhound football, Bud and Jane decided they would try to get my dad involved, and they started a newspaper, the Riverboat Trader. So my dad quit his job as a car salesman and joined Bud and Jane in their new business adventure. During the first year of the Riverboat Trader, my dad started drinking more and slipped into a lifestyle of drug and alcohol addiction. And Dad knew that he had to get clean and sober to save his family, which was his everything. So not knowing how they would pay the bills, my dad made a decision to get treatment and save his family. And as a kid, I often wondered how my mom made it without my dad working. And I didn't realize until later that the only reason my mom, my little brother, and I had enough money to have groceries was because my Uncle Bud had been giving her what my dad would have been making if he'd still been at work. Bud made sure we were taken care of, as he did for anyone that needed help. Down through the years, Bud helped many, many families, just like he did mine, and even though we're blood kin, Bud's family extends beyond blood. His family was Newport, and anyone who had any ties to his Newport family. And as most of you know, it doesn't matter where you go in the world, you can always find someone who knows someone from Newport. Even though Bud never had any biological children, he sure did help raise a lot of us old Greyhounds. The good book tells us in Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 1, that the day of death is better than the day of one's birth. Today we celebrate the birth, the life, and the death of the all-time great and the Greyhound legend, Bud Black. He's announced his final game on the great earth, and there's no doubt it was a winner. So the booth is now empty, the crowd is gone, the lights are off, and the radio is silent, the television is black, and the voice of the Newport Greyhounds has gone on home. Thank y'all.